So for our final part of this unit of the budgeting workshop, we're actually going to go over the 5 steps of how to budget. Now, previous to the beginning of this workshop, we just talked about why it's important to budget and, the theories behind it. Now we're going to actually teach you how to budget and exactly how to do it with some examples. So first step is you want to gather all of our documents, our pay stubs, our bills. So whether let's say it's a cell phone bill, get that monthly bill at the end of the month, that PDF they email you. If, let's say we drive, we have our license, we pay gas, gather up all our receipts from paying gas. Let's say we pay once a week, it's like $20, $30. Get that receipt because it's going to make the next couple of steps a bit easier. Step 2, income. Add up all your sources of income. Let's say we work at a restaurant twice a week, 2, 3 times a week, whatever that may be. We make $300 every 2 weeks. That's what we want to know for step number 2, how much money we're exactly making. Now, let's say we work at the restaurant. We also babysit once a month for, $50. Add up all the income, whether it's from like a, normal job where you get a T4 or like a job that's, paying cash, like babysitting. Add up all those sources of income. Step number 3, get out all our expenses, write them all out, whether that's our phone bill, gas. You even want to add things like food. If you go out to eat at least once, twice a week, and let's say you spend $15 a meal, add that up and we'll figure out how much that is for the end of the month because it's going to make the last step a lot easier. Step 4, we get our income, we subtract our expenses, and we want to see what happened. If we're in a surplus, that means we actually made more than we spent, which is an extremely good place to be, especially at a young age. And if you can carry those habits throughout your life, it's really going to help you out. Or the other alternative is we're going to be at a deficit. So that means you spent more than you made that month. Now, step number 5 is going to be revised as needed. So if you're in a deficit, you want to make adjustments to get out of the deficit, get into a surplus so you're saving and investing more money for the future. Now, I'm quickly going to cut to myself building a quick budget for an example for all of us. So we're going to actually learn how to build a budget right now by doing it firsthand. So here I just have a blank one. So personally, I'm in university, so my expenses are still pretty low. I do have a couple jobs, so that'd be my income, and I have a couple side hustles. Now, in terms of, let's just look at this one category, housing. I don't have a mortgage, I don't pay rent, I don't have property taxes, I don't pay heat, electricity, water, internet, telephone. The only thing I would pay for here is cell phone. And then, honestly, my only really expenses are food, because I always go out to eat with my friends. Some basic groceries every once in a while, even though I live at home. Some saving accounts with my TFSA. Clothing, not too often. And then, honestly, my only main expense is, gasoline, because I drive almost everywhere. So depending on what stage you are in your life, your budget's going to be either bigger or smaller. So when you're in high school, university, lower expenses, your budget's going to be pretty small. Later on in your life, when you have like a mortgage, kids, a whole family, a spouse, you're most likely going to have a lot bigger of a budget. So that's when a budget like this comes really in handy. So we'll quickly just build on real quick. So our example here on the right, we have Tanya, a university student. Now, each week she makes $279.30 from working part-time at a bookstore, and she receives $305.40 per fortnight, which is bi-weekly, in youth allowance. So twice a month she receives the payment of $305. She's a shared house with 2 other students, and her expenses are listed here below. So we'll quickly build a budget according to Tanya. So every week she makes $279. So we have 279.3, but we have to remember here we're making a monthly budget, and this is paid every single week. So times that by 4. Beauty of using something like Excel or Google Sheets is once you fill in the numbers, you get the totals automatically. So that's why I definitely suggest everyone should learn how to use Excel and Google Sheets because it just makes your life a lot easier. Now, every 2 weeks she gets $305.40. I said that's every 2 weeks, so that's going to be twice a month. So total income for her is going to be $1,728. So move on to some expenses. So for rent, she's going to be paying $384 a month. Not sure where she lives, but that's very cheap considering I live in Vancouver. So electricity is $28 a month. Her water bill is $12 a month. Then we have her phone is $20, and her mobile phone will be $40. So for total living, it's going to be $484. Now here it says she spends $30 a month on textbooks. We'll add that right here. Medical. Right now we have, let's see what we got. We have a health fund. We'll fill that in next, which is $236.34. $50 a month at the gym. $26 for student union fees. And lastly, our last expense for the month will be contact lenses, which will be $30 for vision. Now we'll add up our total expenses. See how much we have. This. It's going to be our last one. So continuing from the last part, we added up all of our income and added up all our expenses. So income was $1,728. Then we had for our expenses $856.34. So if we go back to the 5 steps to creating a budget, number 4 was it a surplus or a deficit? So what we do is we get income and we subtract about our expenses, and then we figure out what we got from there. So we'll get our income and then we'll quickly subtract that by our expenses. Now, if we get a surplus, the number will be positive. If we get a deficit, we'll get a negative number. So as you can see, we got $871.66. So we'll call that a surplus. Now, step 5 in the budgeting would be revise as needed. But as we can see here, they're positive in their budget. They're actually saving $871.66. They've saved more money than they spent. So in terms for Tanya, revise may do if it just depends on her goals. If her goals are, let's say she wants to have a vacation next year, or she wants to buy a new iPhone, she may want to save more money if that's really what she wants. She may want to be saying that she wants her surplus to be $900 instead of $871. So what she could do there is go through all her expenses and figure out what she doesn't need to pay for anymore. Like something pretty easy would be she pays $20 a month on her telephone. Maybe she can stop having a telephone and just rely on her cell phone. Simply by just doing that every single month, that brings her $9 closer to her eventual goal. We can look down and say, you know what, she spends quite a bit of money at the gym. What can we do to fix that? Well, $50 a month at a gym is pretty expensive. Personally, I pay like $25 a month. So even if we just drop it, let's say she changes to a different location gym, it's only a 5-minute difference. Instead of $50 a month, it'll be $40. Then we can see here what happened. So our expenses went down and our surplus increased. So just simply by making 2 changes, changing a gym and canceling a phone plan that we most likely don't need, we're able to reach a surplus of $901. So that last part was step number 5, revise as needed. Her goal was to save more money, to buy something in the future, or take yourself on a vacation. So we made the adjustments to make that goal possible. Now that's everything for the budgeting part of this segment. We'll move on to the next part of the chapter, which will just be a quick summary.